Hey, fellow comic book fans, Charlie here. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like what we're doing here, hit that subscribe button and check out thebrazenbull.com for more great comic book content.
Magic Order #1, written by Mark Millar, art by Olivier Coipel. We live in a world where we've never seen a monster, and the Magic Order is the reason we sleep safely in our beds. Magic meets the mob in the Magic Order, as 5 families of magicians sworn to protect our world for generations must battle an enemy who's picking them off one by one. By day, they live among us as our neighbors, friends, and co-workers, but by night, they are sorcerers, magicians, and wizards that protect us from the forces of darkness until the darkness gets them first. Mark Millar's first Netflix comic book, drawn by the incredible Olivier Coipel, Amazing Spider-Man Thor. Okay, comes out today, I guess.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, it'll be out today, which, when this video goes up, it'll be June 13th, New Comic Book Day. So what did you guys think about this? I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good, especially, you know, being the first one off the whole Netflix thing. And I honestly didn't even notice that it was, to start with. It's just a good comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I jumped into it really not having any kind of preconceived notions about it, other than is Mark Millar, who's been pretty consistently somebody I like to read. But here's a story, and it gets into the action right away. It's seriously gruesome in a very surprising and disturbing way from the get-go. Yeah,
right off the bat.
And it's like, yeah, I've never seen that before. You know, so I'm bored with it. And, you know, then you get into the politics of it, you get into the machinations and who's getting blamed and these squabbles that have finally come to this really horrifying conflict, and it's only going to get scarier and more bloodbathy than as we go along. And I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I mean, so I was a little concerned going into reading this just because we kind of know what happens when we have like studio interference with our favorite, you know, comic book properties. But I didn't really get that at all here. It felt like it was a Mark Millar comic book. So I don't know what kind of say Netflix has other than ordering X amount of series per year or per month, however they do it. But if this is the, you know, level of quality that we should expect from Netflix comic books from here on out, I'm very excited to keep reading whatever it is that they're putting out.
I would agree with that. And I suspect it's similar to the way they do genre programming anyway, or, you know, one-off original programming, is that they find someone that they're interested in that has, you know, a certain voice that a lot of people are familiar with, and then try to make a series with it, okay? And this is the first case where it's a comic book series rather than a video series. And ultimately, it'll be a one-and-done series unless it's very popular, and then they'll call it back. So the idea is, here's your shot, make it count, and then they back off and count their money.
Yeah. And I believe, I can't remember the exact number, but I believe this is like 1 of 12 or 1 of 15. So it's already going to be a limited run. And I believe that the way Mark Millar's deal is, because he's an executive now at Netflix, I believe that he's going to be producing somewhere around like 7 series per year. Only some of them are going to be comic books. But again, from the sounds of it, you know, Mark Millar's kind of got free reign to do whatever he wants, and this issue really was a near perfect debut issue for me. You know, we still had the typical heavy lifting that has to be done, you know, the scene setting, but like you said, that opening, oh my god, it was intense. It was intense. And you know what else was great about it? It was you know, visually intense, but also it was kind of creepy. Like, I was kind of creeped out by just the thought of it. This looks like a world that I'm gonna have a lot of fun in. I'm super interested to see what happens next. Really excited to see where this goes. I thought that the artwork was absolutely stunning. You know, the only thing I'll say, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the illustrations once we have more magic involved. Yeah. Because we did have some magic involved here. It just wasn't a whole lot. So, you know, once we get to, you know, 100% in the thick of it, I think it's going to just be absolutely gorgeous. But overall, I thought it was this amazing first issue.
Oh, absolutely. As a first issue, it laid all the groundwork it had to while keeping us like interested, entertained for sure. So I liked it, and you know, the whole magic thing, you always kind of have to wonder how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And in this case, it still worked out really well. Like, it wasn't like, it didn't go hokey. Like, there's enough like action, I guess I would say action magic versus, you know, they have a wand. Okay, like, what does that mean? Like, we all kind of know what, you know, all right, we know Harry Potter. Is that what it's going to be? Or is it going to be like, and it seems to be a little more intense than that. And I like that. Keeps you much more entertained, I feel like. I'm not saying there's not going to be rituals and all that stuff, but it's at least, you know, have that aspect. So that's good. No, it was an excellent one. I was entertained throughout the whole thing. Like you say, and I think it even said it in the little preview here. It's kind of like a magic / mob.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
kind of a really cool way to do it. Like,
Yeah,
really
it's interesting. It's like
so I am interested in how it's going to go. Like, I'm very excited, you know, to continue reading this one. And as you say, if this is the kind, you know, the caliber that essentially Netflix is gonna put out, then they'll have no problems, and I will enjoy most of it.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. I think that, you know, if they, all of their series are this intense, you know, or have the potential to be this intense, you know, and really just come out of the gate swinging. None of this, because here we were introduced to a decent amount of characters, but to me it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like, because not only was this the debut, you know, issue for the series, this was the debut issue for Netflix, and it's just, I think it's a great first step. It's a really good, from what I've heard, you know, the pre-sales are great for this. I don't know. I was really, really excited about this. It's like a Harry Potter Godfather thing going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there may be some smacks of H.P. Lovecraft in there too.
Yeah.
You know, old magic, old monster kind of thing, which can be done well. Certainly, there are horrifying interactions with the dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot, this issue has a lot going for it in terms of the world that's been created, the mythos that they're putting in there. The characters seem interesting individually as well. The only thing that, and this may be resolved in upcoming issues though, and this is my objections to magic as it appears anywhere, is there's nothing to indicate here what the cost of doing magic is, you know, and if it becomes something where there's just this unlimited power without any kind of necessity of a resource that gets depleted of some kind, then I'm going to be, you know, a little annoyed, because you know, there can't be unlimited power, because it's just, if you have unlimited power, there's no reason for any kind of mundane story. You just you're flying through the galaxies or whatever. You're not caring what your neighbor is doing.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of cost here, and I'm sure that, like you said, next issue we'll get a little taste of that. But you know what else I did? I really appreciated the first scene in this, and I also really appreciated the final scene. I thought very ominous moments in this book were absolutely unsettling.
Yeah,
and
which it should be. I mean, this is, it's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be awe-inspiring, and I think it delivers in both those ways.
Which I really wasn't expecting that. I don't want to say it's scary per se, but it's creepy. You know, it leaves you thinking, which is worse than being scary. You know, it's because it's not like our friend from the Black Barn in Gideon Falls, but it's still definitely, like I said, unsettling, and it felt very well balanced, very well paced. I'm really looking forward to it, and I just looked up here. It's going to be 6 issues. I don't know for a fact, but I almost guarantee that we're gonna have some sort of reincarnation of this. You know, once we get to issue number 6, you know, we'll have the Magic Order, whatever the series is, you know, Magic Order Apocalypse, issue number 1. And we're just gonna have these spin-offs.
That's the plan, I'm sure. But like, like Netflix does in their, you know, like their science fiction series, you know, they put out Altered Carbon, for example, which I thought was great, but they didn't pick up a second season of that.
Yeah.
But there are 10 standalone episodes that are good. They're worth watching on their own. And if there's never another one, you know, whatever. But I enjoyed the ones that they did come up in. And I think that they're going to take a similar approach to this. Plus, if something becomes really successful, then they might redo it as a series. And I think Mark Millar's work in general is good. Good ground, a good source of material for things that can be transformed to television.
You know what I think would be really interesting if, like, the first story arc was a comic book, second story arc was a television show, third was a comic book. You know, we come in and out of the medium, you know, bouncing back and forth. I just think it'd be really interesting. I mean,
I both like the idea and hate it.
That seems like unnecessarily clever.
Yeah.
So I doubt that any kind of television organization would be willing to do something like that. They're going to do whatever is most likely to return on the investment, and mixing the medium, mixing the media.
I mean, because
is not what they would do.
The only time
one of the big problems is if you don't read comic books, and if the comic book is the first bit, then they go to TV, then those people are going to be confused. It's not going to have quite the same following, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, now I have to go read a comic book. It's probably not going to happen. But because people I have my Netflix and that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
but you know what? I think this is a great way to get people to read comic books. I don't think you can convert
only people who like this kind of stuff, which I feel like already read comic books.
Exactly. That's why I think it would just work right off the bat. I think the only issue would be producing a television series that's, of the same quality of the comic book and vice versa. That would probably be most difficult for them to feel cohesive. So I think that, like I said, that could be an issue, but I just think it'd be very interesting, because the only other time I've seen anything sort of like that was Fight Club. We had the novel, which was adapted to the movie, and then Fight Club 2 was the graphic novel. I don't know, I just think it'd be very interesting, and if anyone can really do it, I mean, now's the opportunity for Netflix to do this. But from the sounds of it, we're all relatively happy with this, and I don't know about you guys.
Very comfortable with this. The backstory's there, the world's there, conflicts are there, the characters are there. I would give this a very high score.
Yes, for me, I'm floating somewhere between a 9 and a 9.5.
Yeah.
In my written review, I believe I gave it a 9.5. Near perfect for me, especially for a debut issue. Yes. Never mind debut, I mean, it's hard to say that this is something really new because it's Netflix's first comic, because it's Mark Millar doing it. But I just think, looking at it from that perspective, saying that this is an issue number 1 of a new series and it's also the first Netflix comic, it's a success. And
an unqualified success, indeed.
And I'm definitely going to read the next, the rest of this arc. I see no reason not to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was a thumbs up from all of us. So that was the Magic Order number 1 from Image and Netflix's first comic. All right, until next review, guys.
All right, bye.
Yep.